Hey, Tank Mansfield. And with you today is
Ryan Mount.
And this is What You Into.
What you into? What you into?
All right, hell yeah, dude. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, I'm excited about this podcast, man. So, Ryan Mount's on the show today. First time in the basement. This is first time on the podcast.
Yep, happy to be here.
And the interesting topic today, the WNBA, because initially we had talked, we went back and forth a few times about like fantasy football, and you reached out to me and you were like, "Hey, if can I switch what I'd come on the show and do?" Sure, WNBA, hell yeah, like let's do this. This is interesting. So, like we're gonna get into it later, but just kind of what made you reach out and be like, "This is the topic I want to talk about."
Yeah, so like I love women's sports, especially WNBA. I mean that is like my go-to league. It's one I'm most excited. But you know, I've just got done watching the NCAA Women's Championship. I was like, shit, I wish I had somebody to talk to about this. And I was like, this is the moment that I almost want to do my own podcast, but then I don't want that kind of work. So I was like, let me ask if Tank wants to do all the work, and I'll come and talk.
Perfect. You're like, how can I scratch this itch? But minimally lift as few fingers as possible. I have a friend that has a show. I will call him.
Exactly.
And it totally worked out. And instantly I was like, this is the episode that I know nothing about. So yes, let's explore. Because that's the fun of the podcast. The fun of this show is I get to go down into rabbit holes I know nothing about, or I have a very little knowledge about. And so I just get to pick the brain of somebody else who has a shitload of knowledge about the subject.
And I am looking forward to the homework that you did. So,
well, I don't think it's going to get an A, but I feel like it's passing. It's going to be a passing grade at the bare minimum.
Awesome. That is more than most people put in the sport. So good for you.
All right. Well, look, man, if people want to find you online and check out your hot takes on sports, they can find you on Instagram and Twitter at Hebrews on both platforms.
That's right. I don't do a lot on the IG. It's mostly showing off my beautiful two children. But you know, occasionally, definitely at the beginning of the season, the W, I'll be throwing out those takes as I pull my hair out watching the Indiana Fever.
Nice. And listener, you know where to find me at NeoNoOne on Instagram is where I'm at on social media. And yeah, if you want to check out my website, neonoone.com, I got to get it reworked. Actually, don't go look at the website. Just go to Instagram instead. All right, man. Opening segment night. So we're not just going to talk sports. We're going to talk about something you and I both enjoy. We're going to talk about some concerts.
Heck yeah.
So what have you been to lately? What have you, or is there something coming up? What's going on?
All right. So like two good shows. Well, two interesting shows. One is I planned a whole trip with my two girls. I took them to Philadelphia to see their parents, but I went to go see a band called Charlie Bliss. I wish like I could see them every night. I saw them last year at Jimmy Eat World. They opened for Jimmy Eat World in Columbus, and it's magnetic on stage. It's incredible. And like I was wondering if like that was a real smart decision to go to Philly with everything going on, but I was just like, let's go. We went to this club called Johnny Brenda's. It is tiny, but it was unreal. It was like the most fun I had. I think about it almost every day, and like I had a lot of FOMO for maybe the first time in my life. They played Red Rocks last night. It was like what I wouldn't give to be there at that show right now. So that show was just like, it's awesome. I play those albums to death. It just unreal. So
now, so if they were on, you originally saw them on tour, Jimmy Eat World. Like, are they emo? Are they indie? Like, what kind of genre did you put them in?
They're indie rock. Yeah, I would say like the first album is a little like Guppy is a little bit more rockish, and the second one is a little bit more. It's got a little bit more keyboards in there. But Yeah, I would call it indie. I'm terrible at defining music. I don't know. The people, I work with a bunch of older people, and they're all like, "So what do you listen to?" Is like, I don't know. I guess listen to this. Like that's the best way I can describe it. Don't let me. So
In Cincinnati, if it's white people over the age of 45, just be like classic rock. Like that's the easiest way. Just like I listen to the Eagle, and people are like, oh, cool, And then if you want to be cool. With the younger set, then you can drop the Wiz, which is the local hip hop station. Although I hate the DJing on the Wiz, where it's just like the same 6 songs all day, every day. Like it's so repetitive.
well, this is Tank being cooler than I, knowing radio stations. I've only been here 10 years. I don't think I've listened to the radio once.
Well, okay. So this is the problem is I have the Venn diagram of driving with my wife, and our music doesn't overlap so much. There's some stuff it does, but at least one thing I know is a safe like mid ground is like, okay, if we just put on classic rock as background filter while we're driving, everything's gonna be okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I would say like if you want female-led indie rock, Charlie Bliss was awesome. And actually, I came across them right before the pandemic. The Ringer started doing these like in-studio shows. I think they did one and only, and I think Charlie Bliss was it because they got like shut down a month later. I watched them, and I've just like since the pandemic, like clawing to go see them. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to go see Jimmy Eat World, which they ended up being pretty good. But like opening band, half hour, just electric. So that's just like not as fun. That's just like me like gushing about a band. Like, but if you want to hear my old man at a show, like, so I tried to go see this band called Daikaiju.
Okay.
Which is, I thought they were Japanese because they all wore kabuki masks. Turns out, totally not. There's it's a white girl. There's Middle Eastern in there. There's like all sorts of different things. So
they're all from Kansas City.
Yeah, who knows? So, but it's like this surf metal, instrumental. Like if you go and you look at their Instagram or their shows online, like it looks wild. So all of a sudden, they're playing the Comet. A couple, like, I want to say like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago tops. And I'm like, cool. It's one of those shows. They're not doing any tickets. You just have to show up.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. I'm old, only 37, but like I've got a couple years. And I take a nap beforehand. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get this because the show doesn't start till 10, which is like a major red flag. But I'm like, I can do this. It's one night. I'm really excited to go. I show up, and then like thinking 10 o'clock, okay, like there's going to be one opener, maybe they'll play half hour. So you ever seen a show at the Comet?
I don't think I've ever seen a show there. I knew they have shows there, and I know like it's in the second room. They move the tables out of the way. They're kind of in front of the window.
This is a terrible place for a show. Like I don't know whose decision this was to put this band at this venue, but okay. So it's not sloped at all, and there's no stage.
Right.
So unless you are literally up against the band,
Right.
you cannot see anything.
All right.
And I get yelled at because I turn everything way too loud, and I'm going to be deaf very, very soon. I walk in, the opening band, it's so loud. I'm like, oh my God, my ears are bleeding. I was like, all right, I got this. But it's so tight, and it's so hot in there. And like, I showed up, I'm in a black hoodie, I've got my dad puffy vest on, like, got to keep my watch and my inhaler, and,
Dude, that's way too many clothes for the Comet. That's a hot night. Were you sweating?
Oh, so much. It was so bad. Like even going in the other room, I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder. So like, all right, I take this off, and like the band is so loud. I'm like, all right, but I start like fading quickly. There's just beer all over the floor. I mean, it is. It's like, but okay, all right. I promise. Like, I love that new the Daikaiju album. So like, I want to listen to this. Okay, holy shit, they don't take stage until like 11:30, and I'm like, I'm dying because I'm so tired,
So tired.
And all of a sudden it goes on, and then I knew their shows got a little bit crazy, but I'm like, it's the Comet, so maybe people be a little bit more reserved, just given the spaces. Nope, nobody gave a shit. So all of a sudden, everybody starts pushing in this space. Mm-hmm. So I start going a little further back. Then all of a sudden, this 6'3", 6'4", 300-pound guy starts crowd surfing. All of a sudden, ceiling tiles are starting to come down. I'm like, So like move further back of just like, I'm just trying to listen. It's like, and like I'm a hardcore kid. Like I can still fucking throw down, but like that was not the night. And I don't really think like I want to like throw down at a Comet show. Like, and all of a sudden, like everybody just starts losing their mind and like more and more crowd surfing's happening. And it just is getting crazier and crazier. I last 3 songs and I go, too fucking old for this shit. And I just get in my car. It was like, what's still open late to eat? Because I need to stop and then I'm going to go home and pass out. And I was probably home by midnight. And like, I tried, man. But it was, I don't think I have felt that old in ever.
It's always wild when you see crowd surfing in a spot where like crowd surfing is a bad idea. I've run into like that's a bad spot for it. I was at the Taft one time and somebody was like trying to crowd surf at a show at the Taft, and it's like these are like they're theater seats, dude. Like if you fall, like this is gonna suck. Like don't do that.
What show was somebody trying to crowd surf at the Taft?
It was a Mastodon show. And during Mastodon, somebody tried to crowd surf and it was one guy and it was like, this is a terrible idea. I fucking hate metal shows where like there's seats. It just sucks. I mean, I kind of get like if you're in a stadium, but like having the main floor where people can like dance and move and stuff and shit like that can happen is so much better than like being bolted into a seat.
Yeah, that's a weird venue for Mastodon play.
Every time I go to the Taft, it's always weird. Like the Taft basement is super weird. There's always weird shows down there in the basement. It's a weird spot to go see stuff at, or like just something weird always happens there.
I'm trying to think if what I've seen at the Taft. I can't remember.
I've talked about this on the podcast where like that was the venue where we saw Nico Case yell at the crowd. Like she got pissed and yelled at everybody because somebody was like taking her picture and she said there was no flash photography or there was no photography and there were signs up but there weren't. We saw Kurt Vile and the Violators there, and there was like something on stage. It was like it was a backdrop for like the Jungle Book or like Peter Pan or something. So there's this whole like stage like tree behind him and shit, and he was just like, "This has nothing to do with us. Like it's just it's set up. It's just for the night."
Yeah, I will say that is one of the things that I like super duper miss about the East Coast though, compared to Cincinnati. Like I remember when I messaged you and I was like, hey, you want to drive 4 hours with me to go see Turnstile? Because at the time it was either Detroit or Cleveland were the closest. You're like, that's too far. I'm like, no, man, we gotta go. It's a good show. They don't come around here. I just had to wait like 3 more months, but I was impatient.
It is a pilgrimage, yeah. At that point, Giles Chickering, who was on the show, did something similar. Like he went and saw them in New York somewhere, and it was just like, yeah, man, I like him. I just don't like him enough to travel for him. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't know. Probably the farthest I ever traveled for a band is like in state, probably Cleveland. Like I'm not a huge travel guy, but there are shows that I kick myself for missing out for not being a travel guy.
Yeah, I mean, if a band, like I assume that most things that I want to see are not going to be here. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to think. The show before that I think was Mike Dowdy and Indy. Yeah, but I mean, I still fly back to Philly. Like I will purposely like, hey mom and dad, you want to see your grandkids? Like,
yep. And then I'm gonna go to a show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go to a show because I remember my favorite show last year was the 20+ anniversary. Glassjaw show.
Yeah.
And they played Worship and Tribute and Everything You Need to Know About Silence from track 1 all the way to the end. I mean, it just like, God, that was like soul shaking of just everything I needed in that moment. So I guess I will travel,
Yeah, and I've known some people who have traveled in the past for stuff, and they've got to see some cool stuff. But yeah, I've happened upon stuff. I was in Chicago one time, and we just happened to go to a Raconteur show. Like that was not planned at all. They were in the paper. I was like, oh, I guess we're going to this because Lauren wanted to go with our friend Nick, and we ended up there, and that was like, all right, this is cool. Yeah, it's always interesting, like finding venues that you know nothing about, because venues can make or break a show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you are in Philly, like I used to dread. It's called, I think, Franklin Hall now. It used to be the Electric Factory. Mm-hmm. That has to be the worst sounding venue that I have ever been in. Everything just shot straight up. Like it just. I saw some great shows there, but the audio quality was always terrible. So like
that sucks.
If one of my favorite bands now is going to come to Philly and they're going to be at Franklin, like it's not an automatic. I would I would say like Glassjaw's automatic, but like
Yeah.
one of one.
I get you. Going back to the Ohio thing, and it is something I've always grappled with living here. It's like the problem we have is like Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland are all kind of sort of the same size. And then it's like, well, which one do you pick to go to? And then fuck the other two in the process. Because there's a lot of, and I feel like the majority of like punk stuff, hardcore metal comes through Cleveland because there is that loop where it's pretty easy to go from like Detroit to Cleveland, and then you can shoot over to Indianapolis, or you can go to Pittsburgh, depending on which way across the country you're going, whereas we're down a little deeper to come get to.
I'll be honest. Oh, you know what? Yeah, like Kemba Live has a side bar that I saw a band in last year. Horrendous venue. Was not meant. They just shoved a stage in there.
Kimva Live sucks. Like the indoor shows there suck. That's where I ended up seeing Turnstile at. Terrible. Like we were standing in front of the soundboard. We couldn't see the stage.
Yeah. I also say, I don't know if you know this. No, you grew up in Columbus. I think Columbus crowds are the weirdest crowds. And I cannot, like, I've never been like, yeah, I really like this crowd. I'm digging with this crowd. I've been to so many other cities, like Detroit crowds, awesome. Philly crowds, great. New York, awesome. Columbus, pass.
Okay, so let's get into this because I had a similar conversation with my friend Jen. Like, so Jen's from Detroit, and she said she's like, I hate people here, and like I hate crowds. Like nobody dances, and I was like, okay. So that was her take on it. Her take was people don't move, people don't groove, people aren't really. There's a lot of standing around. What's your take on why are Ohio crowds bad versus like Detroit and Philly?
Well, Cleveland was awesome for Turnstile. Okay. Like that, like I was like, all right, I'm on. Understood that crowd. But anytime I go to Columbus, which is I probably see more shows in Columbus now than I do in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. It's just this weird mix of, I'm going to say like 99% white people. And it is just, I don't know what it is, if it's just because they're come from a college town, but it just, I don't know, man. It is a vibe. It is like just a total vibe check of like, this doesn't make sense whatsoever. And like, I don't know. And there's like a lot of, it's a weird older crowd in Columbus too, that'll come out. So like the show I went and saw was this band called Wet Leg. I felt old going to that. They're like these.
Oh, they're the hot new thing right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, young British, like I expected to be old guy there. The old people were there were like even creepier, like just like, sandals, ponytails, tie-dye shirts, like for this band in Columbus. And then you had a bunch of like, I understood the younger kids, like, the Coachella crowd, like, but that weird mix of the two things, it was just like totally off.
So wait, so like I don't quite understand like what the crowd is or isn't doing. Like, are people not into the show? Are people not dancing? Are people like being rude to you? Like, are people bumping into you? Is it like that kind of shit where like, people are like spilling beers, not apologizing? Like, what's happening?
So a little bit of that. So there, there was was it Mars Volta or was it Glassjaw? Maybe both. You know what? I think it was. Glassjaw was opening up for Coheed one time.
Okay.
And people at Kemba Live have beer in the pit. I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
Or, what is still weird for me to see? Like, I remember, it was dumb when I was 13 and still dumb now of when the big dudes put their arms around a girl, like in a pit, like it.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
What? Just go stand, like, there's standing room right over there. Go over there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to bump into you.
Yeah. Well, yes. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, look, this is the designated zone where, if you get in here, this is where all the action happens. And then if you don't want to be the action happens, you go stand over here and that's the chill zone. But you can't come out here and like chill in the middle of the action zone.
Yeah. Like, people were mad because I bumped into them at Glassjaw. Like, I'm jumping around. Like, this was a couple years ago. Like, yeah, I'm jumping around. I'm throwing down. Like, people are like looking at me like I'm crazy because they have a beer. Like, get out of the pit. It's a hardcore show that we're at. When like and they just like their mind just couldn't process. It was like, why would this guy want to jump around? I think everybody was there for Coheed, and I might have been the one guy like, fuck yeah, Glassjaw.
That was really stoked to a Glassjaw.
And truth be told, I left before Coheed because. I think I've seen like 4 or 5 Coheed shows. They are usually pretty terrible live. The only time they weren't terrible, there was a Central Jersey show And it's still one of like top 5 concerts I ever went to. This was right before Blood Brothers' Burn Piano Island Burn was 1 week from release. Coheed hadn't blown up. They only had put out that first album. So it was like, at the time they were called American Nightmare, was the headliner. Then you had Glassjaw under them, and they only had Everything You Need to Know playing. And then you had Coheed, you had the Blood Brothers, and then you had, I think, Trial by Fire opening. It was awesome. It was a sold out show. We were all that like 17 to 19 years old, a lot of straight edge in the room, just like having a good time. Awesome time. That's the only time I heard Coheed, and that was great. And that's gonna be 2007. So it's been a bit. I've had a couple more albums.
I've never seen them live. They're a band that if you love them, you fucking love them. Like people love that goddamn band. Like Mark Borison is a huge fan that hosts the Jungle Jam podcast, and my friend the Grizzly Artist is also a big fan of them. And I'm like I like them. Like there's a few songs that I like, but I'm not ready to get into like the whole Coheed backstory where like I got to read comic books and shit to make sense of songs to set up a universe.
Those are bad, by the way. Those were such a disappointment. Being a comic book person, like, and that like in my heaviest collection of when those were coming out, I don't think he's a good writer there. I like the story that I wrote in my head listening to those albums did not match the comics at all. I do kind of want to go back because Peter David took over, who's an incredible comic writer, and maybe he made sense of it and made it worthwhile. But like, those were, I think I read the first 2 volumes of the Armory Wars, and they are just not worth your time, dear listener.
Well, look, man, is there anything, or is there any shows coming up that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, the Beths.
Oh, the Beths, yeah.
Yeah, the Beths in August. And I think that actually might be the only thing coming up. So surprisingly.
Nice. I think.
How about you? Got anything?
I just got done seeing Clutch again. So my friend April and Dan, they love Clutch. Like it's Dan's favorite band, hands down. And so many times of seeing Clutch, it's just been like, you want to go see Clutch again? And I'm like, all right. And then then I go see Clutch. And
I ate that ticket. So I was also supposed to go, and then I had a plane ride with 2 children at that I need to be at the airport for 6 a.m. and I was like, this is dumb,
dude. Don't go to that show. Yeah, Clutch was still Clutch. Everything you remember it being, it was still that.
Cool.
Like, cause my wife, so we got to sit in like ADA because my friend Dan has some mobility issue stuff, and so it was like, hey, we'll have chairs for the show, we'll hang out. I was like, all right, cool. First time ever doing that at the Brady Center. It was great. We were just like on the right side of the stage, so we could see and hear everything. And it was Lauren's first time at a Clutch show, and she's like, what should I expect? I'm like, it's really kind of like hippie metal. Like, it's just, you're going to see a lot of hippie metal shit.
It's dad rock.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the new dad rock is Clutch.
And it really was. It was like a bunch of dudes that were like, it was definitely an older crowd. It was a lot of black, but it was like, now it was like black, like leather jackets, like biker, like vest kind of thing. And, you know, there was still like some people there that were, and there were a lot of black t-shirts, a lot of other metal bands, a lot of prog and shit. There was some younger people there, but it was pretty rare.
Yeah, and I just got into Clutch, so that's why I'm definitely categorizing them as dad rock because, like, you know, I identify probably as a dad more than anything. I was like, yeah, I'm grooving to this, picking up my kid from religious school on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, dude, it's a weird thing that like Neil from Clutch definitely has a voice that's akin to Anthony Kiedis, where like, it doesn't really matter what he says; it's just what he's saying. But it's like the fifth instrument. It's like the fourth, fifth instrument in the band. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Because everything's like, you know, he's just like, look in that grass by the chair right there, and it's just like, all right, man, cool. I don't what the fuck this is about, but this is your thing, and people fucking love it.
Yeah, I think that new album is pretty awesome. But you know, I'm like, am I super sad I missed it? Like, no, not really.
Yeah. It was fun, but it was okay. And then I'm rescheduling in August to go back to see Jizza again. As I talked about a few shows ago, Jizza just decided to get hammered and didn't show up for his own show. Well, he did show up. They drug him out on stage 2 hours late, and him being like, I can't do this.
Yeah, the closest that I ever came to that, I listened to that, I heard that story, was I saw Cursive one time. And that guy has problems. I mean, like, listen to that music and like, yeah, he you know, but he comes out on stage. He like looks at the crowd, and he just like shakes his head, and he like then goes and pulls this big cooler out, and he just goes in the microphone and goes, "I'm not drunk enough for you people," and just like sits there. We wait 5 minutes for him to kill 2 beers, and he's like, "All right, good enough.
All right, let's get it going. Come
Yeah,
on.
let me talk about my failing marriage.
All right,
Let's go.
All right, come on. Do
We're all in a good mood."
do the spinning things. Start spinning. Oh shit, man. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird seeing somebody like be that fucked up on stage, and then the fact that like the part that got me was it was just like. Like, why would you come out, or why would your management allow you to come out? Like, if I'm really ever like super blacked out, please don't put me on stage with a microphone. Like, just be like, you gotta set this one out, champ. Even if I'm like, let me go up there and smooth this over. Keep me away from a microphone in that moment in time.
That's where you and I differ. Get out on that stage. Let me see it. You don't care.
Say some things.
Say some things. It's fine.
Cancel culture isn't real.
Let's just say in my youth, I might have been just as intoxicated as some of those other people that I used to see in church basements. And we all had a good time. I don't think any of us remember the words, and that's all right.
Yeah, and less camera phones. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah, see, that's the tough one. Well, look, man. Speaking of kind of changing times, and here we are now. Let's talk WNBA.
Nice. All right. Where do you want to start?
All right. So I got a list of questions. I came prepared. So first,
A+.
So first off, like, did you grow up playing basketball? Like, when did basketball enter your life, and how?
Okay, so basketball. No, my big claim to fame in basketball, of playing basketball, was there was another chubby white kid who begged me to go out for the middle school team. I was not good at basketball. I think the only sport I've been any mildly good at was roller derby, and that's questionable at best. And I remember I go to tryouts with him, and he's been practicing all the time, and I'm just like, all right, man, I'm just being a good friend. And I go, and it's the practice time, and like I just chuck a 3, like no form whatsoever, swish right in front of the coaches.
Hell yeah!
I get called back the next day. He doesn't make the list, and I was like,
oh no,
there's no way I'm going.
Oh no.
So, but other than that, basketball, I will say it wasn't huge in my household. Other than my mother's from the Bronx, she talks about the Knicks like. I think she had a twinkle in her eye for those teams that she was growing up with. And that's kind of all I knew. And then I would probably say, man, when the Sixers started the process, I really started watching a lot more basketball. And then
wait, what was the process?
So the process in Philadelphia was like, how bad can we be for consecutive years so we can just stockpile like number 1 picks? Which led to current MVP Joel Embiid on the 76ers. It also led to like Ben Simmons and like Markelle Fultz. So like it wasn't like as good as we thought it was going to be. But I remember watching like a lot of those games. But also too, like basketball really took off like after I started getting into fantasy football, because I was so wrapped up in fantasy when it came to watching football that I like stopped kind of enjoying the game as much, and like I could just sit back and watch basketball, and it was just great. Also too, the Sixers were so bad, like it's not this way anymore. Like you could go to a game and it was like $20.
Oh,
it was
nice.
Awesome.
could you kind of float around in the seats where it's like they're like we can get down in the first tier. Like we don't have to be up here in the bleachers.
Nobody was showing up to those games. They were like begging people. I mean, it's probably like how all you Reds fans feel most of the time.
Yeah, it's a little rough right now for the boys.
It's all right. Yeah, that's a different conversation. The fact that I'm worried about my Yankees losing to the Reds in the next 2 weeks is mind-boggling. But anyway, basketball.
So you got on board with so you were a Sixers guy as opposed to a Knicks guy. So even though mom's down with the Knicks, you were down with the Sixers instead?
Yeah, so I have this weird kind of New York, Philly kind of hybrid going on. So one of the things, and like it was very quick to me, like I would kind of root for the Knicks as well. But their owner is like just a tool. He is the worst. And now I will not root for the Knicks until James Dolan sells the team to somebody else. Like he's just a bad owner. Mostly just like he will buy big like arena rock bands like Fleetwood Mac back in the day, so his band can open.
Ugh.
He like plays the harmonica. It's real bad.
Oh no, that's not good at all.
Yeah. So, but I had like this New York and like Philly kind of growing up because I grew up outside of Philly, so I liked like a lot of those teams. But then like my grandpa growing up, like he lived, breathed, died Yankees. Like that was what he wanted to talk about the most in his life, and like he was old enough of where he would. Him and his friends would go on the buildings around Yankee Stadium and just look down into it. So and talk about Mantle and all that. So like I got the Yankees from them, and then I was an Eagles fan. And mostly like I fell in love with Reggie White.
The Minister of Defense.
Yeah, Reggie White is my guy. He will always be my guy. But I could not forgive the Eagles, and I didn't up until like 2 years ago. Finally, even though like Reggie went for like more money and like went for his own well-being, to me that was a total betrayal, and I stopped being a fan when he went to the Packers, and I became like a Packers fan.
Whoa, so you were a guy that traded allegiance over one player.
Yeah, absolutely. Reggie White, worth it.
Man, talk about that's pretty big. Like where you pick a player over a team. That's quite a dedication to the player.
Yeah, I mean I am a millennial, so like we tend to follow. Like I am a LeBron guy. Like as much as I like rooted for him the Cavs, I root for him on the Lakers. Like I love watching LeBron James play basketball, and I do not care what team he is on.
One of my coworkers is like that. We were talking about stuff, and we were like, I was like, you into sports? She's like, I'm into LeBron. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's awesome, and like I'll probably my second favorite player to watch in the WNBA, like just came to my team, my beloved New York Liberty, and like I am stoked, like because I got to cheering for her when she was on the other team, like that was fun, and like yeah, when they won the bubble, and it was cool watching her play on the other one, but now she's with my like, oh man, I am jacked.
You're ready to go. All right, nice. So were you watching men's college basketball at all during this time?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
So strictly pros. Okay, so here we go. This is a very East Coast thing. People on the East Coast, everything is pro team, nothing is college. The Midwest, we give a fuck about colleges and pro teams. We do, but we really love our Saturdays.
Yeah, like that was weird to me. So like one of the first times I really noticed that. So I'm taking my nieces at the time. This is like 10 years ago almost, taking my nieces, they're up in Toledo to this playground, and all of a sudden half the place is blue and gold,
yes,
and the other is gray and red, and I go, what's happening? And thus explained college sports, and I was like, oh, I don't care. They're like, but they're gonna ask you and you're gonna have to pick a team. I was like, I'm gonna pick Toledo because nobody's gonna care. So like my college team, anybody asks, Toledo Rockets, go Rockets.
You're a Rockets guy?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Mr. Irrelevant this year, Toledo Rocket.
Well, no shit. So this is one of the things I love about college sports is the fucking mascots, because a Rocket, pretty sick mascot. And now my question is, does the Rocket have a name? Like, is it like Robbie Rocket or like, Ricky Rocket? Like, what the fuck it could be Ricky Rocket. Okay, Toledo, hear me out. I don't know how much Poison is touring anymore. See if you can get Ricky Rocket to be your new mascot.
Awesome. Sign me up. So also too, like, man, I went to a Toledo football game and it was the most boring sporting event ever. Although Toledo is hosting the Italian football, the Italian American Football Championship will be held in Toledo, Ohio this year. Can't wait.
What is the Italian American Football Championship?
It is exactly what it is. There is an Italian league of American football being played over there. And for some reason they thought, where we should play our championship this year? Toledo, Ohio. So, it's in July. I'm totally going.
All right. So this is dudes from Italy that are traveling to here.
That's correct.
Holy shit. Because at first I thought it was just like Italian Americans. I thought it was just like local dudes that were, like some guys like Greg Alunas, and
Team Sopranos versus Team Pizzeria?
Yeah, something like just a bunch of 35-year-old Italian guys throwing the ball around. That's what I thought. I didn't realize it was like, oh shit, they're not from like here. They're from actually Italy.
Yeah, no, there are American football leagues around. So like I know they tried like NFL Europe, but it's funny, like one of my client's sons is a football coach on a team in England, like that plays American football.
Sick.
So, and the goal is to come over here, but eventually the Jaguars are going to move over there.
Yeah, somewhere. Well, once we figure out travel more, like once we make the jaunt across, an entire ocean way quicker, where it's like a 3-hour flight, then it's like, okay, we can do this now.
Yeah.
Because I loved NFL Europe. I thought that was like a really cool thing that they did. So, listener, what happened was, like, how right now there's like XFL and there's USFL. This was the NFL's version of this, where they had a thing called NFL Europe, where 6 countries got teams. It was like Germany had a team, Barcelona had a team. No, it wasn't
Spain.
country. It was Spain. It was it was cities and countries got, but then like the whole country would come around the city because everybody just got one.
Sure.
But yeah, and then what they would do is they would put dudes there who like were guys that just didn't get picked in the draft, or people that were like in between teams, like, they weren't the best at their position, like, but if somebody got injured, they get picked up, or, maybe this was like their last shot of staying in the NFL before, a forced retirement. And yeah, it was a really cool concept. And there was a lot of European people that got really into American football.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be a farm system. I mean, they're still trying to figure that out. I think it's forever just going to be college. It's just not. It's just not a thing that you can kind of like go like as you get older. I mean, football is just passing you by. They don't want to pay veterans mid levels when they can just get a kid off the street from like Toledo, Ohio for
Yeah.
for the minimum.
Yeah. Do you think where do you think the NFL will expand next? I don't understand like why they haven't expanded into Toronto or to Mexico City yet.
Well, Toronto's a great question. Toronto, I hear nothing. Like, speaking of WNBA, Toronto seems like the front runner to get another team.
That makes sense.
Like they are hungry, they want it. The NBA is already there. I have no idea why we don't. Well, I mean, Buffalo was supposed to move, right? Like several times.
There was talk of it, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess they couldn't make it work with baseball. Or they had the Toronto Blue Jays. Was it the Expos?
Yeah.
That are now the Nationals.
Yeah, Montreal Expos and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, you know what?
And they had the Toronto Raptors in the NBA.
Yeah, I think man, I don't want to speculate on Mexico City, but it does not seem like those games were well put together. That there was a lot of like field concerns. I mean, it's probably the same field concerns in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
to be like totally honest, but there just seemed like it was like the city wasn't built for it. And I don't know, like, again, too much smarter people with big degrees and making way more money than you and I put together are like making these sorts of decisions. But I have no idea why we wouldn't, cross a little bit. But do we need more NFL teams?
It's a question we have to ask ourselves.
I don't think we do. Like I think
there's like 32 right now.
Yeah, like I think that's good unless we're really going to do like English soccer where we're going to do like top league, bottom league, and like the relegation type.
I would like to see relegation. I think that'd be very cool.
Yeah, but when are you going to put that on TV?
Yeah, well, dude, there's nothing but time to fill on the internet right now. Just constant content. And that's and sports is one of the last things on cable that makes money.
Yeah.
Because they, it's one of those things where it's the only thing you have to watch live.
Yeah, but you would not know that if you hear any of the discourse around the WNBA. Apparently, it's losing money, it doesn't make any money, blah blah. Like I'm so tired of that conversation of just like it doesn't make money. Also, too, I mean, there's a very clear parallel. Like, look at the NBA was not the NBA until like the Showtime Lakers, which was late 70s, 80s. It was 8 teams before then. They were very centralized to what they're doing, but not a lot of people watching the sport, and that was about 20 some odd years in. So like the WNBA now is kind of like right at that point of where I do think it's going to like really start to explode. But again, too, you listen to, oh, well, it doesn't bring in enough money. I don't know if ESPN is making, buying some of the games, if they just cut a new deal with Ion is going to be there. Like, it's got to be making some money. I mean, I went to two games that were like just crazy last year. One was it was in Indianapolis. It was New York versus Indiana, And I think it was actually centered around like a bunch of basketball camps were in town. So it was sold out and it was bananas. But I also went to the playoff game in Barclays last year for the Liberty versus Chicago. And I mean, just and like sold out. Now, granted, they didn't open the top layer like they would for, because I'm trying to think when I saw Barclays top layer. I saw like NXT TakeOver way back in the day there. But for like this, like sold out crowd. So like, you're going to tell me there isn't an audience for this? Like, I just don't buy it.
All right. So before we get into the grand spectrum of who is the audience for this, how did you become the audience for this? Because at some point you made a decision to become a WNBA fan, or did you make a decision? Like, did you just happen upon it? Like, how the fuck did you transition into this?
Okay. So like a couple things like, that I've been thinking about, because every time I mention that I like the WNBA, it was like, how did you get into that? So I just, I'm a self-reflective guy, so I like to, think about where it all came from. And for me, when it comes to like women's sports in general, I never viewed them as like just women's sports. I remember being in 6th grade and asking like our field hockey team. I was friends with the captain, and they're like, "We lost our goalie. We need somebody. Like, you play goalie and you're good at it. You would care?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't care." Again, I think my parents were a little concerned that I was going to get poked at a little bit too much, being a chubby guy in a skirt playing a girls sport. Luckily, they had somebody transfer come in, so that didn't happen. But like, I was like, it's a sport just like anything else. I don't have to do a lot of running, so cool by me. But then also too, my dad has been a coach my entire life. So he started out in football, and I think he made it till I was like 2 or 3, so like back in '87. And then until the time that he retired, he was a women's sports coach for volleyball, for swimming, tennis. I mean, you name it. It was almost always women's sports. And I don't think he coached a male sport again until the last 2 years before he retired, and he started to do boys volleyball as well. So, like, again, too, that's...
Were you like going to games and stuff during this time?
Yeah, anytime I could, I would like go down and see him. In high school, like, it had its perks. Here's my cute son, everybody. Okay, all right, cool. So, good 4 years. But yeah, so like I have that, and then it's just, so like women's sports are not thought of any differently. Also too, like in my household, so there was no women's ice hockey team, and my older sister was pretty good at ice hockey. Like had legit aspirations to kind of push it, but there was no real outlet. Like even at the college level, I mean, a handful of schools. So she was really like had to play on a boys team. So there was kind of always that crossover of like where we in the household we thought sports were sports. It didn't really matter. So I come from that atmosphere. But then how I transitioned to like WNBA is, do you know Shea Serrano?
No.
Okay, so Shea Serrano was a writer at The Ringer. He's got like a show coming out. He writes the book of basketball, the book of movies. They're dope. For an art guy, like you got to check those out.
Okay.
But he also just writes like secret newsletters, just like a cool guy to follow. And then all of a sudden he is, he posts on Twitter all the time. But I want to say like 3-4 years ago, he starts posting these clips of this woman out of Oregon playing for the Ducks, Sabrina Ionescu. And it's incredible to watch. I mean, it's like, that is a basketball person's like dream to watch what she's doing. Did you watch any of Iowa, like the Caitlin Clark?
No.
Okay, so like Caitlin Clark kind of took the country by storm this year but you know who's doing that a couple years earlier? Sabrina Ionescu. So, and here's the thing, like I said, I'm a LeBron guy. You know who I don't like? I don't like Steph Curry. I don't like his personality. I don't like anything about him. Does he play a beautiful brand of basketball? Absolutely. But I hate rooting for that guy. So here was my outlet of like, I get to watch this other basketball player, like do everything that he's doing at just the collegiate level. So all of a sudden, like I start getting invested in the NCAA and like, hey, she's coming to the WNBA. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm having a blast just watching these games and I'm going to continue on with that. And, So then she gets drafted. She gets drafted by New York. So that's kind of, how I was like, all right, cool. That's my team. And then like, so I follow her, and then it's like, all right, well then I start watching all these women's sports. The other thing, like I am the hashtag girl dad. I've got 2 little girls, 3 and 5. Like I want them to have sports figures on. I don't want them just watching football all the time or basketball. Like, but I really love the idea of like, hey, you can aspire to this. You can don't put a ceiling on anything. Like just be great and like watch sports. So like I always have women's games on now, but so it was kind of all that. And then that also leads into the bubble. So like COVID happens and like we're all desperate to do stuff.
All right, wait. Time out. Let me gotta put a pause in here at some point, because you're just like I'm gonna skip through this. I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through. All right, chill. Let's take a second to unpack a few things here. All right,
Okay, go.
All right, so yeah, so having that, so is it with like having the stuff on for your daughters? Like, do they are they showing interest in it? Like, what do they think of it?
So I think Harper just wants to watch television with me, if I'm real honest.
Nice.
But CJ, my 3-year-old, she, like, I said, hey, CJ, you want to go to a basketball game with me? She's like, yeah, Daddy, I want to go to a basketball game with you. I was like, okay, it's on. Because I'm trying to bring Harper. I'm like, let's go. And she's like, I don't really. I think it's kind of boring. So basically, she just wants to watch TV with me. But that's cool, too. That is still bonding time with your kids, just like I bonded with my dad watching games. Like why can't I bond with my kids watching some women's basketball?
Yeah, and I can kind of feel like her stance a little bit too, because like there's a lot of times where I don't like going to live sporting events, and I'm just like, oh man, I way prefer just to watch this on the couch. And then there's some stuff I do like going to. Again, it's very venue specific for me. I told my dad, I was like, I love you, I like hanging out with you. I'm like, but I have no desire to like ever go watch another game at the Horseshoe in Columbus, because it's just so uncomfortable. Like they don't have like individual seats. Like it's a fucking bench, and I'm too big to share. Like I'm with other fat fucking Midwestern people. Like, and this is the thing. This stadium existed before high fructose corn syrup. So, what this was made for is not what this should be now.
No, so that I will tell you, like, I think football is not an enjoyable live sport whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's made for TV.
Yeah, and I will say baseball, I mean, typically when I go to a baseball game, like I'm never actually watching the game. It's really just about hanging out.
It's the chill vibe, and every once in a while something like you hear something, you're like, oh shit, man, we got a hit, and you look over.
Yeah.
And until it comes down to like, if you got somebody contending for like playoffs, then it's serious. Then it's like, all right, we're watching every pitch. But it's just, there's so many fucking games.
Yeah, but basketball is the experience.
I've never seen basketball live.
So
well, outside of high school, but I've never seen college basketball or a pro game.
Okay, so like even like I remember too, like you can even go on like a lower. So like UConn came and played UC. I want to say like 3-4 years ago, and you could definitely see it. But I will tell you, of every year I try to pick a player that I haven't seen in the NBA to go see. And this year, I actually went twice. I went to go see Ja Morant, and like. You can watch those clips on TikTok or what Sports Center. Incredible. When you see him turn it on live, though, it is something special. Like seeing LeBron live, even though it was like that first Lakers year, was just something special. Seeing Joel, it's so hard to describe that feeling, but you do not miss anything in the game. I think you actually get more from being in the stadium with a basketball, like. Seeing how the coaches act, seeing how the benches react, like you can see a lot more, and just also the spacing and the like pace of play is so amplified when you are in a live basketball situation. I think it is absolutely the number one sport like to go watch live.
Nice. Well, okay, you're selling me on going to see basketball live, because I was going to say I do enjoy watching soccer live, but there are times where like you get in a game where there's just like downtime, there's not a lot going on. But whereas in basketball, like when the crowd is into it and people are going back and forth, I could see where that'd be very exciting.
Yeah, and one of the things why I love like women's basketball over, like there are some men's games that can slog, like too many fouls, refs want to just like call the game, and like it can get slow. But a lot of times on women's basketball that I especially love at the WNBA level is like they let them go. There's hand checking. There's a lot like, but it's amazing. Like I'll go to a Fever game and we're done in less than 2 hours.
Nice.
Like it's done. I looked up. I was like, oh wow, like that happened real fast.
And I think that's another great thing that kind of we're figuring out across all sports now is like, yo, this has got to go faster. And like seeing like the pitch count get installed in baseball this year where it's speeding up game stuff. It's like, how do we shave minutes off the clock? Because there you can only watch something for so long before you're like, okay, I'm kind of over it. I've been trapped in here for 3+ hours. I'm ready to go.
So have you watched any baseball this year with the pitch count? I haven't yet.
I've seen some games. I mean, it is they're trying. Like between this and the fucking dugout celebrations for like home runs, like they're trying to take the game in a more modern direction, but it's not something. I just don't have the time to watch that many games.
No, it's too many games. I mean, for me, special treat, Yankees in town. But other than that, like, it's a bunch of insurance guys hanging out, and we're all just like, hey, do you not want to go to the office today? Okay, I don't want to go to the office today. Cool, let's go to a game.
Yeah. And it can be fun. Like, again, seeing baseball live can be fun. Like, that is a good time. But yeah, man, it's such a heavy thing to try to keep up with. And my theory has always been that, like, baseball, it got as, like, bloated and long as it did because, like, it was, created before a time before, like, fucking television. And people needed something to do. And it was like, oh, go watch baseball. And then it just was there. And now in modern time, it's like, dude, I can watch whatever I want on my fucking phone in my hand, let alone my TV, like I have so much content, like watching 160 fucking games. They're over 3 hours a piece. Holy shit. I just don't have the time.
So this is one of the things I will say, I want more games for the WNBA so they can get paid more money. You know what I absolutely love about this though? It's now got expanded to a 32 game season.
I was going to say, how long are the seasons?
So
32 plus playoff?
Correct. So like it is expanded a lot more. I want to even say like the bubble season might have even been like 20 games, but you're telling me like I get to chat like 30 games. That means that every game matters. So unlike the NBA, which like this year I think was atrocious with just like superstars sitting out, like I shouldn't be worried. Like, so I spent way too much money to go to that see John Morant play, and I was like, gosh, I really hope he's playing.
Oof, yeah.
And then the same with like I went to go see the Bucks play the Pacers, and I was like, God, I hope Giannis is playing. Like, thank God that they're still like playing for something at that point in the season. But with the W, like you don't sit out because the rosters are so short, and like the Indiana Fever just cut their number 4 overall pick because she got hurt overseas. Like her back is hurt, so she might be like out a couple weeks. And like that's no go. Like you have to be there and you have to show up unless you are an extremely talented generational player. Otherwise, like boom, you're cut, you're gone. Like
how big a roster is it? Like 10 players? 10, 12?
Yeah, is it 12? I'm trying to think. They had some COVID, so they've been playing around with the roster size. I think it's 12 now, but they have all these silly rules of like hardship rules. And then the other thing, because there's so much international play, is that technically some international players are allowed to be on the roster, but they're not on the roster.
They don't count. They don't count against if they're not there, so you can slot somebody else in, kind of thing.
Correct. So, like a lot of these international players that get drafted, they might not come over here for like 2 to 3 years.
Oh shit.
So, like, yeah, there's like a big plethora of international players that we''s never seen.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think like the Liberty have 2 of them right now.
And it's a 12-team league, correct?
Is it 12? I can name all the franchises. I don't know if I can name the number.
Hold on. I got the power of the internet right here. So we're talking about the Las Vegas Aces, the New York Liberty, the Los Angeles Sparks, Phoenix Mercury, Chicago Sky, Seattle Storm, Indiana Fever, Minnesota Lynx, Connecticut Sun, Washington Mystics, Atlanta Dream, and Dallas Wings.
Okay, so 12. So I should know that, but I just didn't.
The Connecticut Sun. That sounds it sounds like a fucking newspaper.
It is, but people love it, and I think that's why Connecticut and Indiana have a team, because those are fan bases that are built in, because you've got UConn right there, so people are like ravenous women's basketball fans. And the same goes for Indiana. Like Indiana is a basketball state. Like like people probably care more about basketball in that state than football by far.
Oh, I mean, they made a fucking movie about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's there. Well, but Indiana then also does have Notre Dame,
That's true.
which is wait, South Bend, Indiana. All right.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had to like take that second there where I'm like, wait a second, am I dropping knowledge right now, or am I fucking really just stepping on my own dick?
All right. So like again too, I should probably talk to our Notre Dame buddy of how they feel about Rudy at this point.
I hear a lot of people don't like Rudy.
No, I hear that like maybe things have gone bad. However, I do have a great Rudy story if you want to hear it.
Wait, like the real Rudy?
The real Rudy.
Oh shit, yeah, Rudy it up.
Okay, all right. So, I said my dad was a coach, right? And so when I started playing football in high school, I started freshman year. I was 5'4", 250, and like built as a lineman. I have the lineman mentality. You look at me now as like, that kid definitely played lineman. However, the next year I come back, I'm 5'8" and I'm 145.
Whoa.
And they're like, so like, do you want to play tight end or something? I was like, absolutely not. Put me on the line, coach. Like, I am a lineman.
I bring my work pail to work every day, coach. I ain't trying to be out here I'm not trying to touch a ball, okay? Yeah. I'm a lineman.
Although I was a center. So I was touching the ball.
Okay.
But like that was my mentality. That's what I wanted to play. Like that's where my friends were. I proceeded to get the shit kicked out of me for 4 years. Like I'm going against 350 pounders. I'm just getting trucked by line. Like I got an official grade one time of a 0. Like I was not like meant to play football, but it was a good 4 years. And I did not miss a single practice for all 4 years.
Jesus.
And like I just showed up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to play. I'm going to show up for the team. Yeah, I think even on the Jewish high holiday, I practiced until sundown, and then I ran like crazy, like, okay, gotta get home. So Rudy is coming and speaking, and like that was a movie that like my dad would put on for me, of like, because there'd be times it was hard because I was just constantly getting the crap kicked out of me, but he would put that on, and it was like a little motivational video that like me and my dad would just like hang out to. It's like, and every time it would get me. So end of senior year, he's like, guess what, Ryan? And he's like, Rudy's coming. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, you're coming. It was like, I've already got permission. Like, no problem. He's like, but there's something in the beginning. Like, just don't worry about it. But like, I'm gonna drop you off at the beginning, and then I'll talk to you later.
Okay. So Rudy's coming to town.
Yeah, Rudy's coming to my dad's high school, where he's a teacher and a coach. And I go, and then I'm sitting with a bunch of other athletes from the school. And I don't know why. Like, I was like, I guess my dad pulled some strings. It was like a special breakfast with Rudy. And then the principal stands up, and he goes, everybody knows why they're here, except for one young man. And that is Coach Mount's son. Awkward wave. Hi, everybody. Hi. Like, I think I knew like one or two of them. And is like, so what you all know is that you were all asked here because coaches were asked. So who is the Rudy of your team? Who is the person that tries the hardest, who always shows up? And when I asked Coach Mount who that was, and he says, I don't have anybody, but I live with one, and I see one every single day. The tears start coming down. No. Rudy comes over, gives me the biggest hug.
You get a Rudy hug.
Yeah, I get a Rudy hug. Like, highlight reel. Like, he might be a terrible human being now, but like, you cannot take that memory from me. That was awesome.
Did he let you wear the jacket?
I did not get to wear the jacket.
Okay.
I don't think he had the jacket on him, to be like totally honest.
He didn't have the jacket. Where the fuck is the jacket, Rudy? How do we know it's you?
Well, I mean, he was short, and he like looks like us, like we do now. So,
okay, fair enough. That's Rudy. That's definitely
I was
Rudy.
like, yeah, that's him. Like,
yeah, that tracks.
And he definitely like maybe one too many concussions. Like totally.
He's like, I took a couple. It's like you took more than a couple, buddy.
You did.
And you played at the time where they didn't know what concussions were.
Yes.
They just said, oh, you got your bell rung, and then they're like, dude, take a play off, come back in, you're fine.
Yeah, I was just listening to a podcast, and they were like, they were talking about the sudden death. The Jean-Claude Van Damme game 7.
Hell yeah, dude.
And The announcer goes, "Oh, he's got a concussion so bad his children can feel it."
Damn.
I was like, we cannot say that on television anymore.
Wow. The writing of sudden death. Oh, damn. That's wild. Okay, so let's reset the tracks and get back into the WNBA. So, all right. So, like we said, we got 12-team league, 30 games on the season, pretty small rosters. This seems pretty competitive. So what are you expecting out of this season? Like it's their 27th year. Like how has the league grown in 27 years? And then what are you expecting this year?
So they have expanded franchises, and franchises have moved already. So, like the Las Vegas Aces used to be based out of San Antonio. Detroit used to have a team. So there's been some movement. I definitely think, like, I'm hoping that this year, from just my experience, so I am a season ticket holder for the Indiana Fever. It's the closest team, and I drive 2 hours to go there, and it's like the best time in the world. I am hoping to really see like a lot more fans there, because it's been rough ever since they came out of the bubble season, because they've had 3 different venues, because they play the same arena as the Pacers do. Okay. But it is because there was construction on, they weren't going to do it in the Pacers season, so let's put it in the middle of the Fever season, which is fair because that team is garbage. I want to root for them so much, and it just is like they give me every excuse not to. Like, I get it. Like their GM is like a legend. And I was like, I don't understand anything she's doing. If you're going to build a young roster, like build a young roster. Don't like sign all these like veterans because you feel like you need to spend money. Like just let the young people play, and then eventually like you can find somebody to come play, or you get that lottery pick. So I'm hoping just like a lot more fans. I also think the new TV deal of like, so there's going to be a game on like every Friday night on Ion. So like that'll be a place that like people can go to, and like it's definitely picking up steam. So like, we're seeing more and more. Like I just bought, so I don't even have a Nintendo Switch yet, but I saw a deal on NBA 2K, and they just started including women's teams. So like it's definitely expanding. Like the orange hoodie phase from 2 years ago, where the cool thing for NBA players was to wear the orange logo hoodie from the women's team. So I'm really hoping things start to get built out. I think Indiana's it's like a bad place to kind of gauge how the league is going, because they're a bottom of the basement team with, again too, I don't know if it is the perfect spot for them. So like, I would love to see what New York Liberty are going to look like this year. I think like it's going to be awesome. What my personal expectations, I'm going to the fucking parade, man. We're winning a championship. I'm going to the parade. I don't care. Nothing will stop me. Like, we're winning, and my whole heart is in this more than like any other sport before. Like, just I cried so much when it was 2 years ago. The Liberty had gotten in on the A seed versus the Phoenix Mercury double overtime game. Like, I'm trying not to scream and wake up my kids, like just going, and it's just like they lose at the last second and just like bawling my eyes out. Like, I don't really think I have that kind of fandom for like anybody. Like it is all about them, and like I'm super excited for this season. I have like half a season tickets, but I'm like, can I go to like more games? And because I really just am excited to see everybody play.
So you touched upon something there, and I want to agree with you, is like the idea of the sport growing through different avenues. And I think the ability of having like time on TV or on a streaming service, the better, because people can then see it, and then if they can see it, then they can start to follow it, and then they can start to go to live games and stuff. But I think that's one of the things that's crushed women's sports for a while, has been like, it's not on TV, and now we're starting to see it a bit more. But what do you think could be done to get people to get into women's sports more? Because we did a podcast a while ago about this. I'm kind of interested on your thoughts as somebody who is like actively watching the product and going to the games.
So the WNBA has made it super accessible for everybody. And while I love the NBA, their league pass, I think, is like $300, $400 to get. And like, you don't even get every team. You have to pick like a certain set of teams that you can watch in the season. the WNBA League Pass. Now, it is not the greatest app, and I hear people complain about it, but you get every single game on there. And they were like, sorry, guys, this year the cost is going to be $24.99 for the whole season. And like, are you kidding? Like, coming in the pandemic, and they were like, it's $15. And you can, like, I was so desperate for sports of just like, that makes it super accessible. Like, the ticket prices. So for a single, Pacers game versus the Grizzlies. Now, granted, like the Grizzlies were like the hot team. Tickets were like $200 in the high seats.
What?
For
a regular season game?
Regular season game. It was a purchase because I needed some mental health to myself and was like, I'm just gonna go. Like, even if it's a terrible game, like, at least I went. However, my 2 season tickets, which are like row 10 from the court, like, I like to sit behind the basket, like to the left typically. Like, I just get a good feel of the game there. Like, so for 2 tickets for 5 games, the total cost is like $200. So like that's a way that makes that totally accessible. So like, if I want to bring you and Print to a game, like, great, I can just call somebody, I can get 2 tickets, not a problem, and it's like not that much money. And the same goes for just like, man, where was I going? For accessibility, like, it is a totally accessible league. So it is on ESPN. You can download the app and get it. And they have been doing a good job of marketing. So like, I am totally bought all in. I bought the trading cards. Like, that's the other thing too, of like, they're not deemed as like, so like in the pandemic, I don't know if you saw that with baseball cards, like, people went bananas and
Really?
they were spending hundreds of dollars like to like open these packs and everything. And the only cards you could get were like WNBA cards, because there just wasn't. But I was like, but that's good because they're putting money, they're investing into it. So, and I will say, like, I am excited. I listened to a podcast today with the new owner of the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury. And every time he talked about owning the franchises, is he made sure to mention that he was talking about both teams and not, and again too, like, it's more of an NBA podcast. They want to talk more about the Suns. Like, Suns are in the playoffs right now, but he constantly would make sure that, like, mentioning, and like, that goes a long way. And the same can be said for like the owner of New York. Like, they talk about it. Mark Davis, owner of the Raiders, is also the owner of the Las Vegas Aces. So like, they're getting higher profile and they're getting owners that care. So like, where Sarver like didn't care, and like, I think the only reason he knew was like because Brittany Griner was on his roster. Pretty hard to miss her.
Yeah.
Also Diana Taurasi, who's awesome.
I do think it's interesting to see that, like, raising up where you're getting serious owners now that are taking all of these franchises, and then just, again, the idea of like getting it on TV, getting out to fans. This last time Laura and I were in Portland, she wanted to go to the Sports Bra, which is a women-owned women's sports bar in Portland. And it's like, oh yes, like, this has got to be like the WNBA hub of Portland, because how could they not have all the games? And so I am interested to see what happens, like, what fan base does develop. Like when you go to games now, is it like, what is the percentage or split? Is it like 30% dudes, 70% women, or is it like more extreme than that? What's the makeup?
It's like no dudes unless, it's like dads bringing their daughters. This is more the I'll speak to more the Indiana, because I go to that franchise, at least like 3 games a year. I think for the past 2 years, it's been like 3 to 4 games. And like this year I'll go, maybe 5 to 7. That is a lot. It's also a lot of older lesbian couples. Like, they fucking love the W. They've been there since the beginning. God bless them. But that is a big part of that. And it is a lot of elderly, gay, community in there. Which is interesting. That's not really who I thought I'd be like watching a lot of sports with. But it's also just like Midwestern polite. It's nice. And then it is a lot more of, you can see all these players, and like most of the small girls that they're coming in jerseys. You can tell, like, they play basketball. Like, you can kind of see them moving their hands, like they're thinking about dribbling. So, like, I think it's a lot more that it is not dudes. Now that was totally different, and I don't know if that's because that was a playoff atmosphere, but it was such a diverse crowd when I went and saw that playoff game in Barclays. Like, I don't think there was any demographic. You had me, my wife, best friend, just hanging out there, and then it like all again. We're in New York though, right?
Yeah.
So like,
New York has everybody.
yeah. So like, I think that is going to be more the norm. I'm really curious to watch like Seattle this year to see what the crowd is like, because that place used to be rocking with Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart. Now Stu York, woo woo, and Sue Bird is retired, so we'll see. But that's really interesting because that they're desperate for like an NBA team, but the people show up for that WNBA team in Seattle, and like that is on the bucket list. Like, I do want to go see, it in every stadium. And the thing is, like, where the Fever play, like that is a really good basketball stadium. Like, if you go there, you're gonna be spoiled because like that is literally I've seen basketball games all across the nation. The whatever they're calling it now, the Gamebridge Field area, it's the best for it is a basketball arena more than anything else.
Nice. Well, which is awesome when you have something that fits the primary thing it's being used for.
Yeah.
Because there are sometimes where you go to arenas and it's like, well, we thought about this for like rock concerts. It's like, well, maybe, the primary thing is like it's supposed to be like for ice hockey games or it's supposed to be for basketball.
Yeah. Disney on Ice.
Yes. Disney. Yes. The
good show, by the way. My dad loved it.
Loved Disney on Ice?
Yeah. He was like, man, they're really talented. I was like, okay, Dad.
So you said, kind of seeing like an older crowd there. Like, how does the WNBA market? Like, what are they doing to get out their brand and who they are to try to grow the league? And then who are they trying to attract?
So, I think they're just desperate for anybody because the pair, there is such a wage gap between, the minimum for an NBA player is more than like the maximum of the top level tier. I don't think that they're really discriminatory of like who they want. Like it's, hey, there's great basketball being played here. Like everybody should enjoy this. Like I watched Sabrina Ionescu, I watched Brianna Stewart, and like I'm not thinking like oh, they're good for the gender that they are. They are just if you are a true basketball fan, you watch them and you're just like, that's something special. So I don't know, like, and how they're trying to market, like, you have these good owners they're pushing. I see that the Liberty are at every single, Nets game, and like they're given front court seats, being included in 2K. Having cards is kind of a big deal. Those cards up until I want to say the 2020 season didn't exist. So that, I think 93 was like the last year. And then there was like this huge span of like 10, 20 years of where they weren't. So like just meet the sports fans where they're at. And like, we like all that, and we're seeing it too. Like I'm rocking my Stewie ones on the shoes. Like they're cool shoes. I've got Deladons, like Sabrina Ness, like they're seeing there is a market for it. So they're doing all the exact same.
What's the personality like with like the women that do have their own shoes and like the bigger personalities in the league? Like who, or actually the bigger players in the league, what are their personalities like? Are there people that are talking shit, or is everybody kind of like Captain America kind of stuff? Like what's kind of the vibe of what's getting out in front of the public?
No. So, all right. Like I will say, actually, the WNBA has like two of the quietest headliners. I like Stewie she uses her voice for like good, but she's not like vocal. She's just like a silent assassin, kill you on the court. Same with Asia Wilson. Like I don't hear Asia Wilson for the Aces, who was the MVP last year. Just quiet, does her job, like not a lot. Then you do have some trash talkers. Like you got Kelsey Plum on the Aces for sure, who is like big personality. You have Sabrina Ionescu, I think, is like a big personality. I don't like drawing the comparisons, but her and like, she was a protege of Kobe Bryant and also is like good friends with Steph Curry. So like there's a lot of that kind of thrown into her personality because that's, who mentored her and trained her up. But I wouldn't say like there is a dominant personality in there. But I guess like I'm also spoiled because I do get to watch every team, because there are 30 games, and like that app of like going on, like I go in the office, I can throw open my laptop. Cool. Guess what I can put on for, 40 minutes and kind of get to. So like, I think everybody has got a distinct personality, I'm trying to think of like,
it was just interesting to me to have that, because that is something that's another thing that drags eyes onto your league, where it's people from the outside know who that person is, and then that brings attention over to. I think about it with like being an MMA fan, where like which is when. I mean, people know what it is, but it's pretty niche compared to like fucking the NBA, the NFL, all that kind of shit. Like it's nowhere near on that level. But it, like to have somebody like Conor McGregor, or to have somebody like Ronda Rousey, these household names that people instantly recognize. They're like, oh yeah, that. And then some of those people will go on to watch a fight, and some of those people will stick around and they'll become fans. And so same thing with kind of like the WNBA, like, who that's why I was wondering, like, who do they have that's attracting those people in from the outside, or,
I think Sabrina Ionescu, like, she got me in the league, and I was not alone in that. Like,
Yeah.
she was just incredible to watch. I think Caitlin Clark, who's on Iowa this year, she's got one more year. After that, she's going to bring a lot of, like, she brought a lot of eyeballs, like, this year. Like, it is amazing of, like, the amount of conversations that I've had with people, and they're like, hey, you're into women's sports. Like, how about that Caitlin Clark? And then I was like, do you even know who won the men's? And they're like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, that was awesome to see for the sport. There was, like, great trash talking in that game. It was just, and great basketball being played at that level. So I do think, like, that will. I also, and it wasn't a publicity stunt. And, I do think that there's going to be some interest in just on the humanitarian of watching Brittany Griner play, right?
Yeah.
You just spent 11 months in a Russian prison. Your life is dragged out on TV, and she's not a, like, she's a quiet person by nature.
Uh-huh.
Like she is a lot more reserved, and like, almost you can kind of see, like, she's big, she's tall personality, but like if you like, she would do a meet and greet and she's very quiet and like just doesn't want to talk. So like, I do think there's going to be an interest in watch, like, I didn't really like, that was the first game I'm going to this year. Like, I want to see her, and I want to see Diana Taurasi. Like, and Diana Taurasi has been doing this for like so long. She's a trash talker, just incredible. But like getting a little bit older. So like, I do think that Brianna Stewart in New York, in a big market, like that's really going to push as well. And then I do think too of like, when you have more crossover people, like I think Becky Hammon is great. Becky Hammon was an assistant, she played in the WNBA, but then was a longtime Greg Popovich. And then she would constantly like be up for interviews or talk for interviews and just wouldn't get it. She goes to the WNBA first season, boom, wins a championship. And then all of a sudden they're like, the Toronto Raptors are very interested in Becky Hammon. Like, I think that's good for the sport. Like, I don't want to lose like this bright shining star coach that we just got. But at the same time, if it's like, well, yeah, if they can coach here and they can coach there, and like, we can just get, better overall talent into it. So, there is a lot of growth to get done. I don't know if it's going to be one person. That's also kind of like why I like doing this and talking about it.
Yeah, I think, and again, I do think it will grow, because I do think that now, I think that leagues have realized that women are kind of an untapped market for sports fans. Like I definitely know women who are sports fans, but it's not the majority of them. Like, because like, for example, the place I work at, everybody there is a woman that I work with, and so out of like 20 people, there's maybe one or two people that I can talk any level of sports with. And, they're just, everybody else is like, I'm just not into it. And I think that by having more women's sports and having a thing where it's like, okay, like, and if it's marketed to them, I do think there will be people that will find growth in that, because it is an untapped market.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're doing a good, and there is not a lot of, I remember your episode that you did with the three female sports fans. And they were like, everything's pink, and I was like, there is like none of that in the W. I mean, I like that it is treated as much, and I do think the way that it's covered needs to change though as well in order to help grow the audience. So I'll air a little bit. There's this guy Howard. Oh man, I'm gonna mess up his last name. Anyway, he's a good writer. However, he runs a podcast called Locked On. They do 6 podcasts a week. You know, he's making money off of this. Like, he was in the New York Liberty doc. Like, you know, why is his audio so terrible? You know, but also too, like, I'm tired of the fucking jokes of like, hey, did you know that the men have a league? Yeah, dummy. Like, we all know. Stop treating like it's a joke, or like, you know, just treat it like it's a sports thing.
Is it like the weird thing in roller derby where like everybody has to be complimentary about everybody? Like you can't say anything bad about any team or any players.
Oh, absolutely.
That's so fucking detrimental and stupid.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that, and I see that, and especially too, like on the interview side of like, why not? Like, I would love to ask the GM, you cut your number 4 overall player, you couldn't find like a second round pick for there. Like the way the picks are traded around, like, is crazy. You're really gonna tell me that they're like, man, she's really got to, you know, and they're like, she's defensive minded. I was like, well, that's bullshit, because she was the best defensive player last year. You just cut like that. You know, and there has to be expansion because we need to get more roster spots. It is there was a crazy graphic I saw last year of just being a first round pick isn't a guarantee to end up on a squad, which is bonkers to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, why would you take somebody first that they weren't going to end up on your squad?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, in the NFL, you literally have to drive 120 miles and kill somebody in a drunk driving accident to be cut. Like, somebody always take a chance on a first rounder, but like WNBA, nope, no guarantee. Like, maybe the top 3 stick, and not even that. Indiana Fever cut the number 3 pick from 2 years ago. So wow,
That's that's got to change for sure, because that makes no sense.
No, so I mean, I do think the league is marketing right, and it's just got to grow, and maybe it never does. But, you know, I really, you know, the other thing too of like, there probably is a window of where it's going to be, because the fact of the matter is like every place else treats women's sports so different. Like, I remember going when I was in Israel to a women's World Cup game, and like, you had like, nobody cared that it was like women's soccer over men's soccer. Like, everybody came out. It was a wild time. Like, you know, and then it just was such a different vibe, like, of how women's sports are treated overseas. I mean, there's a reason why all these WNBA players have to go play overseas. It's very, very rare that some of them can just stay home and like work on their craft, or they're doing like this Athletes Unlimited, you know, league of where there was basically like it was almost like pickup, because you're like trading teams all the time. I didn't quite understand. I was a little too busy to catch it this year, but like that was the alternative for people to stay home, and like, you know, maybe they're walking away with like 10 extra grand for like two months of work. And like, I get that if that's like me and you and like a lot of other people, but we're talking about like the best athletes in the world. and it's like, you're making how much? Like, it just, we have to build up the league. And I don't like, again too, I'm not a marketing genius. So
I feel you on a similar level with like MMA, where like those people that are fighting are fighting for peanuts, usually outside of like the main and the co-main. And it's just maddening. It's like, why can we not pay these people more money? Like, you're making a good chunk of money as a sport, like the UFC sold for billions of dollars when and now has been restructured into a deal with WWE by Endeavor, who now owns UFC and WWE together. And it's like, you're telling me you can't pay your performers like at least 6 figures a fight to go out there and like just accept the fact they're going to have a pretty shitty like back end of life when everything is tabulated in terms of concussions and just injuries from training. Like, come on, help them. And the same thing with any athlete on the pro level. It's just like, you got to get the bag while you can, because as you know, as a reoccurring theme as you brought up throughout the podcast, hey, the younger models are coming up. Like the new people are coming off the line. They're stepping league and they're faster, and you're older and you've lost a step, and it's a difference, man. It's a very fucking small window to make your money in sports on a pro level.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why most people like go. I mean, that's why Brittany Griner was going over there. There was I'm trying to think. I think it was like a short documentary of her and Diana Taurasi over in Russia years ago, and just like how miserable it was to live there. Because I mean, they were in Siberia basically, you know, and like people showed up for the game because like you don't want to be outside.
Right.
But the only form of like going out was like from their apartment was like going to the mall and like eating something. But they were, at that time they were being paid like $2 million for that season. And like right now, the maximum I think somebody plays, it's around $225,000 per season to play in the W.
Jesus.
So like,
what do you describe with the Russian thing? It sounds like the plot to Semi Pro 2, where it's just like there's nothing in this town in Siberia except for fucking women's basketball. It's at the arena, and the arena has heat.
yeah. So like, I am a women's basketball junkie. At this point, like I should not be on YouTube watching these Euro games at like 3 p.m. or like 7 a.m. I roll. I was like, oh, cool, championship time for the Euro Cup. But you go in there and like there are so many people. Like I follow a couple players that play in Australia. It's not huge arenas or anything. No, it's not NBA. But people are showing up. So I don't know how we translate like that kind of energy that seems to be everywhere else on this level. Like there has to be some sort of middle ground.
I don't have the answer for you, but
I need it. Tang, give me the answer right now.
well, let's do this. Let's shift gears a little bit. You are a fan for sure, and one that is not going anywhere. What all kind of merch do you have? I see you're rocking a New York Liberty hoodie. Like, do you pick up hats, jerseys? What all do you snag?
Shoes are the big ones. I got that, the Deladons. Anescu's got a shoe coming out. Been kind of keeping my eye to see if there's any old. I think Candace Parker had a shoe about like 10 years ago, so I might try to find like an old retro pair of those. Hoodies, absolutely. Every year I get at least 2 T-shirts. So typically the T-shirt jerseys of favorite players, but I think this is the year. I'm probably going to end up with an Anescu, probably going to end up with a Brianna Stewart jersey.
Wait, did they make them in men's, like,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a men's style?
Correct.
Dude,
Yes.
that's sick.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I actually think that there's more merch in unisex men's style than there are like women's cut jerseys. Yeah, I will say, whoever runs in New York, like, and Tank knows this, but listeners may not. So I met my wife because like we bonded over like good merchandising, and like when we walk into the Liberty store at Barclays, we're like, ooh, that's awesome. Oh, that's a cool print. Like their merch is awesome. So, and I do think like the Indiana Fever, who again, I'm just going to rag on them because they really are terrible. Like they've been at the bottom of the league and they're still going to be at the bottom of the league for like the foreseeable future. But even they sold out their jerseys because 2 years ago when they did a redesign, they did a Stranger Thing inspired jersey. So it's like
cool.
black with like this red splatter and
Yeah.
the Stranger Things thing. Sold out immediately. And that was like across all fans. And like there's not like a real recognizable player on the Fever, but they're like, gotta get that jersey. I think a couple years ago they just did a real awesome job with that, with the rebranding of having the 3 uniforms. I love the Liberty and the Seafoam. It's just a cool color.
I love an alt jersey. I love the third jersey for teams. So listener, maybe because a lot of people listen to the show, not sports fans. So typically in sports, your home team jersey are your color, and then your away team jersey is white, and then you get sometimes a third team jersey, and it's usually fucking a wild artistic expression jersey.
Yeah. So I will say is actually, who has a white jersey? I think maybe, man.
Someone's home jersey is a white jersey?
No. But like, we are always expected to see like a white jersey, like for professional like men's. You see like they have like we'll call the Bulls. They typically have like black, mostly red, and then like they have that white jersey. For the Liberty, like their home jerseys are seafoam and black,
Really?
with like copper,
That's sick.
kind of accents. I think it's so much better than the red, white, and blue that they used to be. But then they have like a they have like just a black jersey, and then I guess they do have a white jersey. So, but they have like I'm trying to think. I think it's Frontier, Rebel, and something else. They didn't even call it like home away. You can show up and it's like kind of just whatever the opposite of the team wants to wear.
Nice.
That is. So like, I've been
I like that in MLS. Like I like that it's not always like white jersey, that like you'll show up and like maybe like, you know, especially like playing against Miami, FCC was, where like they're wearing blue and then Miami's wearing like bright pink. And it's
Oh,
like,
I love those uniforms. Oh, I saw that game last year versus Miami. I was like, oh man, I'm like not a fan of Miami, but I really want that pink jersey.
I like a brighter pink. I like a more like borderline magenta pink, like a neon pink, and the pale pink does not do it for me.
There's just something about that neon pink and white that just like, you know, I don't, never really want to like have been alive in the 80s, but like if I could put on a Don Johnson suit, I totally would.
Well, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Yeah, so no, like they like their marketing department like fucking rules, man. Like their merch department, like I don't think there's one team that I've been like, oh, that's a terrible decision. So, but I'll go on all the time and just look for like, I want to support the league. I want to support all the and I love just watching so many different players. Like if there's a good player on the wings, cool. I'll grab like a wings. And the other thing I also like is that some of these players too, and I don't know if it's on I don't know if it's on the men's side, and I don't know, you can even speak to like football players if they do this, if they're allowed to, but like they have their own merch of like I can go out and like I have a Brianna Stewart like Puma line, but I also like there's a point guard, she's now with Chicago, Marina Mayberry, and like she had her own merch that you could go out and buy.
That's sick.
So
that's so
like,
smart.
Now, granted, I would love to talk to Marina. If you ever come across this, like, please call me. I'll help you get some better merch because, like, your new stuff is it's real bad. Like, I'm more than happy to send you $45, but you got to put a good design on there, please.
That's true. Athletes, pay your artist. Like, it does matter what your graphics look like.
Yeah, and like I get you think like it's a cool slogan and everything, but like you know that 3 logo she had for a while was like it was awesome, and then she like did something about like this is my kitchen. Which I think is like it's like a women's empowerment type deal of like, you know, like this is where I fucking cook. And I appreciate that, but like it looks kind of dumb on a shirt. Like I don't know if you need a font redesign, maybe just throw some initials on there. I don't know. We can work it out though. Call me, please.
I'm just in my head. I'm just like cycling mentally through like how I would design a T-shirt. Or some lady was like, "Make this is my kitchen." I'm like, "Oh man." I'm not the right designer for you. Look, lady, there's a lot of women with blue haircuts on Twitter. They're gonna be mad if I release these designs. And there's way too many guys on Twitter that look like me. They're like, hell yeah, brother. I'm like, God damn it. No, this was not what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, and she could totally kick. Like she talks so much garbage on the court. It's awesome.
Well, that was one of my questions. Like, so seeing the games live, like, is there trash talking? Like, can you hear people saying things to each other?
Can you always hear? I'm trying to think of an instance of where I really heard like a direct piece of trash talk. No, but like Sabrina Nescu has got like the ultimate fuck you face.
Really?
Like she just puts like the smile, like she'll drain a half court 3 and just like walk off, like you know, like that kind of tough attitude, like nothing. There I saw like a buzzer. It was a buzzer beater. I think there was like 0.8 seconds left. On a game versus the Fever last year, and she like fucking drains it, and she just like locks arms, be like, "That's what I do." I was like, "Fuck yes."
That's awesome. Yeah, again, just the whole thing of that, of the personality of it, and like in again a live sports thing where like you can like just hear shit that you can't hear on TV. You can see shit you don't see on TV.
Yeah,
it's always cool to see that kind of stuff in person.
Yeah, so actually, I mean that was like a big talking point, and I still don't understand the world that we live in sometimes. For the NCAA championship, so Caitlin Clark talks a lot of trash. Like she threw up the John Cena in the semifinals of like the "you can't see me," and then as LSU was stomping on the Iowa, you know, Angel Reese comes over, of course. So Caitlin Clark, white player, Angel Reese, black player, comes over. Caitlin Clark does the "you can't see me," and all of a sudden, oh, Angel Reese is a bad sport. Fuck that.
Yeah, I saw that pop up and I read about this and I'm like, wait, the other lady was talking shit for, well, fuck her.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's good. Hey, if you're going to dish out, you got to be able to take it.
I absolutely want teams to hate each other. Like, what is wrong with a good rivalry? Again, too, I don't know how often we're going to get like that specific one, but yeah, like please.
Look, WNBA, if you want to draw people in, can you do like a Pistons Bulls 80s thing where like basically it's just a fist fight every time you're out there?
So Diana Taurasi on Phoenix Mercury, she is a trash talker. So So Gina Oriemo, who's the coach of UConn, who coached her, was asked, "Hey, do you ever watch because Taurasi and Sue Bird like kind of do their own telecast on some of the games? They're like, do you ever watch them play?" And he's like, "No, I watched Diana Taurasi talk way too much my entire life. I don't need to see any more of that." Like, because she runs her mouth, she can be not hitting a shot, and you would think like put the fucking crown on her. Like the way that she talks, like she is just an Italian treasure. Just absolutely the way that she talks shit.
How what are the size of the players in the league? Like, are they all over 6 foot, or is it kind of a mix in terms of height?
It's a pretty big mix of height. So like you do have your superstars like Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson, Jonquel Jones, all like tall, 6 foot something or other. Like definitely like looking down on a short guy like me. But then you do have like folks like Courtney Vandersloot. So just came over from Chicago Sky, coming New York, and she's small. Like she's got to be shorter than me, and I'm like 5'9" on a good day. Mm-hmm. So like maybe like in that 5'6" range. You got Arian McDonald, who, and I think I kind of love that about the league too. Like you can succeed if you are a smaller person. Like I remember growing up. Do you remember what was it? Larry Johnson and Muggsy Bogues.
I remember Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Those were short guys, and like they were almost kind of a fucking novelty. And like it's amazing that they lasted that long. But if you are really good, like
at what you do,
like there is a spot for you can make it in the league.
Yeah.
And I do think like that was part of the transition that is harder for, I would say, NCAA coming to the WNBA. The size does grow. So like you are, at college, like, I watch some of those games and like everybody's shorter than me. Yeah. So like it's not that. But then when you get somebody tall in there, like, watching South Carolina this year, like they are just big, long, like I think the shortest person was like 6'2" on that squad. Mm-hmm. They were just massive. So yeah, I mean, I think different styles of play though too.
I think you touch upon something there. It's so important, is the idea of the difference between the collegiate level and the pro level, because of who plays in those leagues. And that's something that like I always think about with the NFL is like, it's one of those things where it's like, to get to that level, to get to where you're in a pro league where people are paying you. So you're going through all the people that have played high school football, and then you landed on a college roster, which means like 120 Division 1A teams, and maybe they got 100 people on the piece, like 100 dudes on a piece. So you're talking like 120,000 people. And then that gets whittled down to the NFL draft of 32 teams in 7 rounds. Like you're talking like a few hundred people, you're making it in there. And then there's already pre-established people that are already there that are there to help you wash out. So it's always amazing to see people jump from that level of like the college level where you're a standout and you're a star. And now you're in here with people that are on your level or better. And can you hang?
Yeah. And I think that was hard for just as a fan, as Anescu, of watching her really struggle with that. But also too, you're a superstar on a team of, role players at best. And like, of course they're going to have all the attention on you. So when you're getting double teamed by 2 people that, might have, 6 inches to a foot on you, like, yeah, that's real hard. So like this year, oh my God, she's going to fucking cook, like, because she's going to have so much extra support, and we're really going to see like the best of that happen.
Well, while we're starting to wind down here, let me hit upon this. What are like some of your favorite moments in watching the WNBA? Like, what's some of the stuff that it just sticks with you?
I will say that New York game versus Phoenix, of that double overtime. Like, so the way the playoffs used to work, it used to be one and done to start the first round. So like, no series, just like the NCAA tournament. So watching that game was just incredible. Watching Sabrina hit a buzzer beater live, just, absolutely. And I will say, like, oh my God, do I want another playoff game so bad, like that I experienced last year? There was like, I was just praying. I was like, I knew New York was not going to win the series, but I was like, if they get one, I'm going to be in town. Like, and the crowd of just like, I was crying because I was just so happy to be there and be in that much fan and like get to see my team live that way. It's just, I would say those are probably my top 3 moments now. Now, I'm looking forward to taking my girls and like taking them in the first game. That's going to stick with me too.
Do you talk with other WNBA fans? Like, is this something that you're experiencing in a silo, or do you have like online friends or people that you meet at games that you're talking to about this?
No, that's why I wanted to come on your podcast. So I had somebody to talk to, or somebody that had to listen to me. I try to bring my wife into. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. She goes, "That's nice." Not because she's not supportive, but it's like it's my thing, and I fucking love it.
Are you on like WNBA Reddit or anything?
No, well, Reddit, WNBA Reddit is like just a bunch of dude trolls. Oh, women play sport. Like it's still that kind of bullshit. Twitter, it seems hard to kind of engage. I did just join a new Patreon, and they're like, "Hey, you want a place to come talk to people?" I was like, "Absolutely." So like, who am I? It is a lot in a silo. Again, too, like, let's say I have a couple open tickets. It's hard to be like, is there anybody in Cincinnati who wants to drive 2 hours with, or like drive 4 hours round trip to go watch a 2 hour game for a sport that not a lot of people like. Like, no, I see a lot of this in a silo right now. But again, too, we're 2 hours away from a team. Now, if I was in Indiana, sure. But, I am hoping maybe this Winsider, who I think is doing good work. Like, I know I was bagging on the guy on Locked On. I do think Winsider is covering the sport well. They have really good articles. Partially got me to be a Patreon. And then they're like, hey, here's this free chat. Oh, and the other thing of like WNBA Fantasy just started last year. So, like, that's another way that they're going to grow the game. Everybody loves fantasy. So...
Okay, so I want to, because as we're talking about this, I'm kind of like doing the math in my head about like how niche something is. So like I have plenty of friends to talk football with because I'm in a fantasy league. I have like friends that are into pro wrestling. I talk to about pro wrestling. I have MMA friends. Lauren has like roller derby friends. She's able to have that community, like to watch games and talk to people about it. Like to hear that you're experiencing this sports so solo is very interesting to me. Like, so what is it like to like be in this like kind of, I don't know, like one man bubble or something? Like what is this like to like just to love this thing so damn much, but then not being able to like really talk to people about it?
It's a great question. Which is that line is also it's also Obama's number one stealer. Like that his speechwriter. If he ever had to think about a question, he'd be like, "That's a great question." You notice, like, take his time, think. It's weird, man. It's weird because like I am so excited. And I do want to talk to people. Like, it's so weird for me to like. I joined a public fantasy league last year with total strangers of just to get more out of it. But I'm cool, man. I mean, and there are a lot of people that like come watch sports and then they like just kind of like want to talk the whole time. Mm-hmm. Like I fucking want to watch the game.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. There's sometimes where I'll chit chat and talk during stuff, but if it's something I'm into, then we're not chit chatting and talking. Like this is important, real deal shit right now.
Yeah, and what's fun is like we took another couple to a game last year. And it was just fun to kind of bring them into the world a little bit of like, hey, like that's a really important player. Like this is her last year. Like these are all cool things that can happen. So like you can still share your love of something without having everybody be like, oh, you love this, I love this. I mean, we both experienced that, right? We were both in roller derby. Like, like that's kind of annoying after a while.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a point too with the idea of like setting up storylines for people, because I think that is one of the important part of sports that people don't understand is the dynamic of what is the story of this. Like, why the fuck do I care? Why do I care about this person in laundry versus this person in laundry? And there has to be some stakes to it. And there has to be a reason why I like this person over this person.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the cool things about having 12 teams, right? Is that I know something, like I could go to any single game and be like, oh shit, like go check out that YouTube highlights 2 years ago. Unreal. Like, oh my gosh, she was at Stanford. She's got this going on. Like, like the Atlanta Dream, who's like never been a really like competent franchise. It seems like for a long time. Like even they have some new exciting things to go. And like, I love to share that with everybody. Not everybody needs to love everything that I do. Like, shitty bands, women's sports, whatever the case may be. Like I am just happy being in this bubble. If somebody wants to come like hang out with me, cool, man. It's welcome.
what how far can people express themselves in this league? So like something I think about is in terms of like football with like, end zone celebrations were taboo for a while, that now they're a thing that can happen. People celebrating like in the NBA after they come down off like a big dunk and being able to like kind of talk trash. Like is there that in the WNBA? Like is there celebrating? Is there like swagger?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and also too, it is a league that allows the players to have a voice, right? We bag on the NFL all the time because it's like, don't wear cleats that has your children's name on it, because how dare you be a good father, but make sure you have like this billionaire's name on it, whatever the case may be. The reason that NBA players started wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts is because the W did it first, right? Like they were at the forefront of there. Maya Moore retired from the sport to go be on social, like, she met a man incarcerated in prison and like really is now working for prison reform and criminal justice. It does not silence at all. It's all voices are welcome, and like they want people to be loud. They want them to have opinions, and they're not worried about marketing dollars.
Okay, so on the flip side of this so you're speaking more of like left leaning politics. Is there anybody in the league that's like right leaning, like MAGA politics?
Oh yeah, Sophia Cunningham.
Really?
Yeah, like yeah, she's like anti-trans. She's a TERF. Like just definitely one of those. And same with the LSU coach of like. So again, we're talking NCAA though. Like Brittany Griner carried her to 2 championships, like at Baylor. Like she has the career that she has is like because she got paired with the right person at the right time. Now, granted, she is a great coach and people love her, but she refused to say a single word while Brittany Griner was in jail because like everyone knew that she was a MAGA basically, and like did not want to be associated with that. So there are people, but it's almost kind of forgiven because it's weird. So like thinking of the two. I remember Sophie Cunningham because holy shit, during the finals of Phoenix versus Chicago, she was the scariest person out there. Like not because of her politics, but like she was just on a heater, and it was like she got the ball and that was going in all over the court. And the same for the LSU coach of just like she's an incredible coach, and I see the way that she actually connects with her black students. Like they'll fly in from around the country, they'll put her on a pedestal, and it's like, and the politics don't matter, which I find is like so weird.
I think it's interesting. Like, how do you work with in that environment and like not like, I just don't get it. I don't get like how your thing is like, I work with young black people and yet I'm going to support politics that primarily in the past and to this day have like went against them in terms of how this country works. Like that seems like a weird fucking proposition.
Yeah, well, so I will say that the most players that make up the WNBA, you have a lot of African American. You have and a lot of I think one of the coolest things, like dudes you're on notice, like be this cool. Ariel Quigley and Courtney Vandersloot played on Chicago Sky, married, playing together. Like that's awesome. Like, yeah, and that was open and it was cool. Like, I'd love to see 2 NFL players do that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I don't get the whole thing about like being gay in sports. Like, just fucking be you.
Yeah. So I mean,
like,
that's who makes up the
it.
league, and I guess like I think it's great. It just means that there's a place for everybody. But at the end of the day, like. Let's not get caught up in that. Like, let's remember, like, this is the fucking best basketball in the world being played. Like, I will.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Shots fired on the podcast.
Yeah. Like, it is fucking unreal. And, like, if you tell me that you don't like this, then you don't like basketball.
Okay. Break it down. Why is this the best? Is it the shooting? Is it passing? Is it dunking? Like, what is going on that makes this the best basketball for you?
Okay, so like I will say like the refs are not nearly as egregious as they are in the NBA, which means the pace of play is sped up. So even if you are a half court offense, so like Dallas Wings was last year, like it still was like extreme defense being played. And again, too, why are all these people showing up for Steph Curry, right? Is because they play from the outside in, right? And a lot of us gone that. But then you've got teams like the Las Vegas Aces that have that old school, pack the paint, put the ball in. Like, it is just as high level. And the fact is like, you don't get to be an old veteran and be on a team. You don't get to be a PJ Tucker and be like, he was 0 for 0 playing 36 minutes in a playoff game. Like, that is unacceptable in the like, you better contribute to your team or you're off the squad. Like that. Like they don't they don't care about dead money. It's just gone. And like, let's get somebody in here who's going to help contribute, because there are people starving to get on that court. Like, so I think it is just such a higher level IQ. And like, I am really, really excited because I think what is going to happen this year with the Aces and the Liberty is there is no modern sports equivalent. Like, I guess maybe Lakers, like Lakers Celtics in the 80s, but even they, like, they had a weak link on the court. Neither one of these squads, their top 5, everybody stays healthy. It is going to shatter every single record that we've ever seen. There's going to be a basketball that, like, NBA players are going to be like, holy shit, I wish I could play like that. Like, I just think it's incredible, and you can watch all the different styles. And like, it is too. What happens in the NBA is like somebody sees something that works. Warriors are a great example. Everyone sees this spacing 3-ball. All of a sudden, the whole league is that way. You know what I love watching? I love watching Joel Embiid, like, pack the paint, old school. I love watching Jokic, like, just be an alien, and he is a center that passes the ball. I mean, that's like Bill Russell shit. What I think is going to happens in the W level, you just have all these different styles of play, and nobody really plays like anybody else, because nobody's roster is like, oh, okay, here's this role in this one and this one on this one. I think there's such a diverse group of talent of like, it is a fun and like, I will throw on games of like, I don't care about these two teams at all. And like, at the end, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, it does make it fun when like each team has its own unique identity and their play style. So it's not just, okay, I'm seeing the same thing over and over. It's like, there is an individualized expression of what each team is bringing to the table and what they're trying to do to win.
Yeah,
and that is definitely something that it's like, all right, got some interesting. And plus, you bring up the point with Las Vegas and New York having these two teams that are at a high level that at some point are going to collide. That's also something pretty special.
Championship. I'm going to the parade. I'm putting it on the podcast. I'm putting it in the universe. Like, I am going to that fucking parade.
And, do you know? Is it how would the championship game work? Would it be in Vegas or New York or on a neutral site?
So it would be back and forth, best of 7.
Okay.
So whoever has the higher seed, and I think they also do the President's Cup. I think the President's Cup has a small factor in it as well, which is this in-season tournament. Like, NBA is like trying to play with this in-season tournament. Like, they did that to like juice up the game. I don't think they needed to juice up the games, but they're doing this in-season tournament, and for them it does. It's like an extra $50,000 for every player. So like, that matters a lot.
Hell yeah.
So
Hey, you get a little extra cash. That's nice.
I do it.
Well, look, is there anything that we didn't hit upon tonight you want to talk about? Was there anything that we missed?
No, man. I mean, if anything, like, I really want to encourage everybody. Like, the bar is so low to get into the WNBA. Whether it's $20 a month on an app, or whether like you can text me personally on Twitter, be like, I want to go to a game, and like, I will find you and I will hang out with you and like go to a game and just see this high level of basketball being played night in and night out.
Well, I guess that brings us to the final question. Like, what is the future like? Because it seems like you're a lifer. This seems like this is something that's not going anywhere for you. Like, just what do you want to see in your dream vision? What would you like to see the league turn into?
I would love to see some more teams. Does it need to? I'm not a guy for expectations, because I think when you put expectations on things, you're typically let down. I just want to see grow. I want to see women get paid, equally, for the incredible work that they put out there on the court. I want to see more fans. I want my kids to grow up in a world of where they are talking about the WNBA more than they're talking about like the NBA, and that's coming from like two girls' perspective, but like they view it as an equal viable sport. I think of the ultimate goal. I would love to just have players not the WNBA be the destination for women's basketball. Like that, I think that would be the ultimate goal where we'd like to get to, of just like, so we're not worried about playing overseas, and we're not that, like, people are coming here and we're putting the best product on the court, and like everybody still has access to go see it.
Okay, so kind of like kind of the way the Premier League is now, where like if you were at the top level, that's where you head, and then inverse that to where it would be like with basketball, it would be like, no, you come here to the United States to play a game.
Yes, that's I think like, big picture, that I would love to have that happen.
Hell yeah. Well, I hope it happens for you, man. I hope this thing keeps growing, and I hope you find some friends.
It's all right. I'm happy. So you'll see me. I will say, like, I made a ton of friends. I was the only guy in Liberty gear during a game that the Fever won. It was just like sea of Indiana around me. They're all like, "It's all right, man. Like, it's all right." We talked some shit to each other, but it was like, It was good. It was good natured. Like nobody was gonna dump a beer on me. So.
Well, Ryan, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you out online if they want to follow you for your hot takes and pictures of your kids living life?
It's Hebrews, Hebruise, Old Roller Derby name on Instagram and on Twitter.
And listener, to find me at Neil to No One on Instagram. And hey, appreciate you listening to the show. The show's doing great right now, but the way it's doing great, the way it keeps growing every month, is because y'all keep telling people about it. Keep that shit up. Like if you have a friend that's into the WNBA or you want to introduce them to it, share this episode with them. And also share episodes from the past, I don't know, archive that I have. Over 100 episodes easily. I've interviewed people about just damn near everything, or a good chunk of damn near everything. Here's the deal. I'm trying to interview people about damn near everything. Hey, again, Ryan, thank you so much for coming out, man.
Good job, bud. I love you.
I tried. I love you too. Thank you. And listener, thank you for listening to the show. Peace.